Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the ToLiss Airbus A321, and today another of our short flights. We're going to fly this EasyJet Airbus up to Birmingham. We're starting here in Bristol. I'm a real-world Airbus pilot, so hopefully this brings some more context to your home flight simulations, but as always this is just for our own use in X-Plane at home. It's not for any real-world use, of course. So let's get started. As you can see, we're in a rather well-equipped one today, something slightly different. CFM engines. So far I've done all my videos with the IAE, so this will be a bit of an experience for me as well. Sharklets, Satcom, this is the full works, a really fancy pants version of the Airbus 321, although it doesn't have, I didn't install the auxiliary tanks. I didn't think we'd need them for our flight from Bristol to Birmingham. The route is there, as you can see. So let's go through our setup. We're pretty much ready to go. So using our diff strip, it's all pretty much done. We're going to be the Easy 852 from Bristol to Birmingham. Only cruising at 230 because it's a short flight, quite a high cost index, so quite a good flight time. Flight plan wise, just to show you guys where we are, we're going to take off from my 27 around this departure, which I'll talk about in a moment, up. And then it's unrealistic, but it just gives me a bit of space on the route to get things set up and chat about the arrival. And there we go round, expecting to land on the southerly runway in Birmingham. There's a Vatsim event on, so hopefully there's some controllers in Birmingham. That's the plan for today anyways. But you can watch me struggle again through using Vatsim without controllers telling me what to do. Secondary is just a copy of that. Performance-wise, we're in a relatively lightweight 321, 72 tons. So we've got some passengers, but we just don't have much fuel because we're not really going very far. We've got about 6 tons. Performance-wise, flap 2 takeoff today from runway 27. Slightly reduced flex, so yeah, quite a good bit of power. Bristol's famous. It's not that long of a runway. It usually has quite good crosswinds, but today it's pretty benign, so it's quite nice weather. And there's the speeds. Our departure, SID, will take us off of runway 27. We'll take off this way, bad in 1 X-ray, climb above 6,000. Climb above 3,000 to be at 6,000 feet. So this is where we would definitely want to check our constraints. So if I show you how we would do that, if you need help setting up the FMGC for this flight, I have a video on that, which I'll provide a link to. But here we go. We're going to go out, cross this point above 3,000 feet, which we can see there, and see it's got that little magenta asterisk. So it knows we're going to make it. It thinks we're going to cross it at 3,500 feet. So that's absolutely fine. And then round the corner and up to 6,000 feet. And then we'll carry on up to our cruising level and try not to get told off by London if I manage to contact the right people on the way. Something of note about this departure is the speed restriction, 230 knots below flight level 100 until established on 088 track or otherwise authorized. So that means we can't accelerate until we round this turn. And we have a slight issue here. The coding has 230 knot restriction at Delta 268 Echo, which is before the turn. But we're not allowed to accelerate until after the turn. However, there is no point there. The next point is the Honolulu 60. So what I'm going to do is I think the airplane will accelerate earlier. I think it will accelerate this first magenta dot, which we don't want to do until we're round the turn. So to stop that, I can go to my performance page. If I go next phase into climb, I can pre-select to 30 knots. So I don't want it to go faster. So instead of automatically going to managed speed, it's going to go to my selected speed of 230 knots. So we'll see that when we take off. And then all I have to do is manage it when I want to accelerate because it's going to already want 250 knots. My clean speed is 220 knots, so I'm absolutely fine to do that as soon as we get cleaned up. I don't need to keep the flaps out or anything unusual like that. Okay, that's pretty much it for the flight deck setup. So let's get ourselves underway. So give the passengers some air, get rid of the ground power, and get the seatbelt signs on. Probably be a good idea. Otherwise, we're pretty much ready to go. And regular viewers will know my pushback experience consists of taking a very long time and getting it wrong. So let's try our pushback checklist from here. We've done the doors. Right, so I'll make the announcement before we go. I understand that I'm supposed to tell people on the frequency. I'm talking to Bristol Tower on 133850. They are not active at the moment. So I've just had a check, and from comments from you guys previously, I've been told that hopefully they will contact me with a private message if they want me to contact them. So I'll try the approach fix and get airborne, and then we'll go from there and we'll see what happens. So let's say that we're ready to go. So beacon on, tow truck, let's get it going. Thanks again. You guys have also helped me out with this pushback tool, which is just genius. I love it. We're going for runway 27, so we're going to face this way. So let's do something like that. Actually, it would be not that far, would it? That would block the main taxiway. Probably something like this. I don't know why there's somebody over there. Pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
Fantastic. I didn't even realise. That's fantastic.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Cool, the tow truck. We leave the anti-skid switch on. I don't know why it's in the checklist. I must admit, parking brake release will be the next thing to do. So let's do our little checks. So we do a little flow. We check the thrust levers are definitely closed. We check the windows are closed. And we've got the aeroplane set up as we want. Flight doors locked and so on. I think. Right. And I'm going to leave it on 2000 then. Let's see if they want us to change that once airborne. I think last time they gave me a squawk when I was in the air. And hopefully the tug is arriving. There goes our colleagues behind us. Easy 226. I don't know where they're going. They haven't got quite as fancy a spec Airbus as we managed to get hold of today.
All doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Fantastic. Lifting us up, I think. Yeah.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is a little transmit. Bristol EGGD is pushing to face east from stand 26. Hopefully that might be useful for someone. Brakes released.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Now, so far, I've always forgotten to do this. What on earth have I done? Oh my goodness. Whoa. Maybe this is why... Oh, goodness me. Maybe this is why the nose wheel steering needs to be turned off. I really don't know. One of you might be able to help me with that. Okay, it seems to be recovering. Right, so yeah, what we would do in real life, which I often forget in this, is start this timer here. So we just know when we push back. Could be useful later on for some reason. Parking brake is released. Oh, maybe I'm going to... What happens if I turn this off? Does that improve? I've never had to turn it off before. And I certainly wouldn't in the real airplane because the nose wheel steering disconnect pin is in. No, it can't be making a difference. Let's leave that on. Otherwise we'll forget it. Okay, right, let's start the engines and hope that this works out. Great question in the comments in one of my previous videos. Someone asked, why do we time it? Well, the FADEC will cover most failures during its startup. So if the engine doesn't light up properly or something like that, we would expect the FADEC to be able to fix it. It might run the engine, it might crank it. So if an engine fails to start, sometimes fuel sits in it and it's like getting flooding your engine a little bit. So it can dry crank, so it just run the turbines using the starter motor to pump out the fuel, all sorts of things like that. So we typically leave the FADEC to do it. But we also worth timing because you can get an idea of if the engine is starting correctly or not. It could give you an idea if one of the igniters isn't working properly, for example, and the Airbus is automatically swapping to the other one. You might find that sort of thing out by timing it. And it's also useful just to know when we're running to the limits for the motors.
Parking brake.
Okay. Parking brake is set. That's good, Ace.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
That's available. We'll start engine 1. He's disconnecting. These CFM engines seem to start up a bit quicker than the IAE engines, which I've heard is the case in real life.
ToLiss disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Okay, hand signal on the left. There's the available. Wait for his wave. Let's put that goes to norm. First thing we do, get rid of the APU. We're not using it, and I think the rest is as expected. Did I just see another airplane? Nope. And our ground colleague has safely gone away. We'll get the wave from them. There it is. Great. Very important. Don't want to run them over. Right, that goes on. Tow truck dismissed. Parking brake is on. We've done all of this bit. And we've done most of that, and now we go into our little flow. We can do that, make sure that's at 0. It should be really, we're going to go for flap 2. This should be on transponder. In real life, you'd probably set that to transponder before you push back, which would be their XPDR. Let's just give ourselves a squawk. Why not? Try and get that to, actually that's a bit risky. Let's go 5623, 5632. There we go. Right, that would go there, and that should be it. So ground spoilers, armed, flaps, we've got them here. Definitely at 2, rudder, pitch trim, AP master. Okay, now the pitch trim, having said I've done it, let's just check. We've definitely got it. It's 26.9 as ever. I suspect this is very similar. The numbers I keep getting from the way I'm loading up the airplane seem to always be in the center. I might try mixing that up a little bit. It doesn't affect too much really. You just set that trimmer and then the takeoff technique is pretty much the same each way. Let's do some of the flight controls and so on now to get them done and out of the way, make our short taxi easier. So full left, full right, neutral, full down, full up, neutral. So for this flight, I've hopefully got that rudder. Let's try that a little bit more controllable. There we go. For the takeoff, I've had a few troubles lately. And that will be on performance. Flaps are set. Excellent. Let's get taxiing. Easy 852 taxiing to holding point for runway 27. Still no controller online, so that shouldn't be too embarrassing. Let's go. Right, we'll time the engines just to check they're warm. I'm sure they would have been. Ah, there we go. So the airplane on release did that. Interesting. Give ourselves a bit of thrust. I'm going to work on similar N1s to the IE engines. I'm not sure if those limitations are different for the taxi speeds. Let's do a brake check. All good, and all good down there. Yeah, you can do the flight controls obviously stationary or while taxiing in the Airbus. I think the Boeings often do it before they go anywhere. Right, let's have a good look around. But we get that that luxury. But in short taxis like this, or if maybe you might be on a busy flight, if the cabin was busy with lots of passengers and the cabin crew needed a bit of time to secure it, it would be quite sensible to sit there just after pushback, get the engine started and do the flight control checks, that sort of thing. And it gives the cabin crew more time, because what we don't want to do is sit out at the runway and not be ready while other airplanes are around burning fuel waiting to take off. It's not very sensible. Okay, we can do our little flow. Put on the radar, put your wind shear, that'll be an auto. That can go to TR8, that's on max, and oops, excuse me, takeoff config. Magically in this airplane, something I love is that we can have the cabin ready whenever we feel like it, which is very handy. Okay, we're going for full length departure, Alpha X-ray down there. It looks clear on the approach, so I'm going to get everything going as if we're going to go straight onto the runway. No point hanging around. Easy 852, lining up and departing runway 27 on a northerly departure. Oh, got a message. What have I done? Okay, they want us to contact them first. 2565, we can do that. Maybe I'll just ask them. Okay, so with engines, let's say we've had a short turnaround. So that would mean we only need 3 minutes to get the engines warm. So they're pretty much warm. Let's talk to approach, see what's happened. Bristol approach, easy 852 at the holding point, runway 27 ready for departure on a Badim 1 X-ray. Sorry, could you say again for easy 852?
Easy 852, did you receive IFR clearance for Birmingham?
Not yet, easy 852 tower had closed.
Easy 852, roger, squawk 6460, cleared Birmingham. Badim 1 X-ray departure, runway 27.
Thank you, Squawk 6460, Badim 1 X-ray, runway 27, and we've got QNH of 909 at 8 hectopascals, easy 852.
Easy 852, new QNH 909 at hectopascals via Alpha X-ray runway 27, clear takeoff, wind 180 degrees, 11 knots.
QNH 997 hectopascals, and clear for takeoff at runway 27, easy 852. Thank you very much. 6460. That is set. We'll have that on above. So we've got the squawk. Bad M1 X-ray was what we were cleared for. Bad M1 X-ray. And QNH 997. Okay. If you get clearance like that on the taxi out, you'd rerun your before takeoff checklist, depending on your airline and how your checklists are formatted. But we've got checked the bad M1 X-ray and that clearance again. And look at that, we're magically going to make the 5 minutes on the engine warm up anyway. Okay, he's cleared us to go. We've got all our lights on. Not very on the centre line there, but it's clear all around. Excellent. Let's go. And we can go for a rolling takeoff. My understanding is that in the CFM Airbus we can do, well, we do 50%, so very similar. I think generally pilots who fly the CFM tend to quite like them. The IEs are a bit slower to start up. I know that's probably the main frustration for people. Oh, we're taking a bit of energy to get up this hill. So I wonder if I should have called that controller earlier. He was straight on it when I got to the taxi point, but I did transmit on the tower frequency, so I don't know what else to do really. Oh well. He didn't seem angry at me. And I'm going to just make sure we're going up to 6,000 feet on this departure, and it's loaded incorrectly still. Wow, taking a lot of energy. Not that heavy. Okay, so there we go. Runway's clear. We're ready to go. Let's go for a rolling. So let's get the timer going. Wind is from the south, so the airplane's going to try and turn left on takeoff. Takeoff. Okay, that's about 50%. Good. And Flex 39, SRS runway, order thrust is blue. There's 100 knots. Quite a bumpy runway in Bristol. Quite a short one. Here's the other end. V1. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav. Just going to put in autopilot 1 so I can show you what I was talking about with the speed restrictions.
Right, 77 Echo X-ray, hello, vectors Isles approach runway 27, descend, flight level 9 0.
Okay, lever climb. Thrust climb, climb, order thrust. We're flap 2. We're above the airspeed, so we can go to flap 1. You don't need to stop timing. You can stop timing now because we've taken the engines off their takeoff thrust, so the limit is pretty much finished. But I often leave it running just to remind me. For example, we might do a PAX off takeoff, things like that. So there's other things it can be used to remind you of. So here we go. The speed, normally it would just be the magenta target that the flight plan had. So that would be 230 knots now, and then it would go to 250. But I want to fly this turn. Climb now, flight level 100, easy 852. Okay, let's fly the airplane first. So that's flaps to 0. That's coming together. He said flight level 100. There it is. Going to set standards. We got out blue. We got out magenta at 6,000 because of that restriction on the SID, which I'll talk about shortly. But that's good. It has a level off arrow, which I don't always see in this airplane. And now it automatically went to the selected speed, so I told it 230. And what I'll do is once we're around the turn, I'm going to push to level off. He said climb now, so I'm going to pull that. Thrust climb, open climb, flight level 100 blue. And we got out blue 100. So if they say climb now, they're meaning you don't have to follow those restrictions usually. Some airports are not, it's not always clear which they mean, and you have to confirm it. Some places may clear you to climb higher, but they'll expect you to still fly these constraints.
The 852, contact London 126.075, goodbye.
126075, easy 852. Thanks for your help. Bye.
Goodbye.
Right. He was very nice. Let's move on. 126075. Let's see if I can stay out of trouble with these people. That is really handy that they did that for me. So here's an example. I don't want to be climbing this fast or too fast as I reach my level off, especially in busy airspace. We're almost around the turn, but it does say established. So let's do it in vertical speed. Probably a bit late to do it now, but let's try. Vertical speed 1,000, speed, vertical speed. Get that rate of climb under control. In a London TMA, probably 1,500 feet per minute within the 2,000 feet to go. That was quite a quick response.
Clear direct Lima Echo Delta Golf Oscar Airfan 6 Super.
And now we're around the turn. I can accelerate, so I'll just go to manage speed and it would just go to what it had. So 250. So obviously we do the after takeoff climb checklists. These should have gone off. We'd have noticed that when we went to flap 0, and that would have been disarmed, which is why the checklist is there. And we have a look at the ECAM memo. All good. Let's check in. London Easy 852, climbing flight level 100 on the Badim 1 X-ray.
Easy 852, London control, fly heading 080 degrees, climb flight level 180.
Heading 080 degrees, climb flight level 180, Easy 852. Okay, doke. I'm going to do the flight level first. Often in real life I do that so I don't forget it. There's 180, heading of 080. So we got out with 180 and heading of 080. Great. Well, there's no point doing that slowly. He's cleared us up, so let's go thrust climb, open climb. I haven't used it much. Let's have a look. What is in the X checklist? Taxi before takeoff, lined up, takeoff, after takeoff probably is us. See, this stuff is not stuff you'd be doing from a checklist as you go. It's a little bit time consuming. It's a great checklist. I don't want to insult it at all. I think it's really good. I'm just trying to work out where it might work. Anti-ice, yeah. Altimeter done. Landing lights, nose light, train and ND. Okay, cool. So for flew flight 100, that's all checked. Looks quite reasonable. Acceleration to 340 knots. I mean, that is ridiculously fast. I've never done that in the real A321. You'd spend so long at climb thrust trying to get up to that speed, and we get so much drag at that speed. I mean, we have the fuel for it because that's what our flight plan was based on. And we probably save quite a lot of fuel on this route because of this. We could just cut left to Grove at any moment. But there we go. I'm going to change that. That's ridiculous. Let's try 25. That 340 knots is also just too close to the overspeed bar. So if you were to fly into a headwind, for example, if this tailwind disappeared, you'd get a sudden increase in speed, and the airplane has momentum through the air. So you'd find that you just end up overspeeding really quite quickly. Maybe in smooth air you could do it. Seatbelt signs can go off. Passengers can walk around. Stop that timer. Right, I'm going to cheat slightly as always on these flights on my own, which is my excuse anyway. Bristol, and we're going to Bravo, Birmingham. Let's load up that weather. Well, let's check. Southwesterly breeze, so runway 15 should be correct. And what I've actually loaded in is the RNAV, so I thought I'd try and request. No, we can disregard. We try and request the RNAV to Birmingham. So Grove 1 Bravo, RNAV runway 15, which I think is all loaded in correctly. So let's get that chart ready. RNAV 15. And we'll have the Grove 1 Bravo, which is what we're flight planned for. Ready. And then as a backup, it'd be silly not to be ready for the RLS runway 15. I don't know whether that's what they would prefer we do. I don't want to make a scene, but plan for the RNAV. I won't talk fully about RNAVs. I will do a tutorial on them because they can be a little bit complicated. Okay, we're now approaching our level off and we're climbing too fast still. So what I can do is increase the speed now. If I put it to 330, and we'll see the nose come down and that rate of climb reduce. So we've still got some speed protection, but we're in open climb, so it's just going to maintain this. Right heading 105, easy 852. Heading 105, there we go. Now that starts to pay to our shortcut, but it's entirely my fault. I filed this flight plan, so I absolutely cannot complain. And here we go, Nodgu. That's the last point I can go direct to. I think this is where I've talked about in other videos. The descent profile is not very clear. But the final approach fix is this point, yeah. So we can go direct to Nodgu. That's often what these points are there for. So it's somewhere for you to fly direct to and then pick up the RNAV. And then we'll do a fully managed RNAV down for Birmingham. It's all tuned in here correctly. 147, yeah, good. How are we doing? So in real life you'd monitor the level off as well very closely. Still probably climbing too fast, so now I'm just going to go to vertical speed. Let's do 1200. Right, so we'll monitor the level off and then we'll load up the rest of what we need.
Easy 852, report heading to London 129.425, good. Easy 852, that was just static, try again.
Apologies, 129.425, easy 852, goodbye.
Ascot 2648, descent to flight level A0, clear to leave control airspace by descent. Descent, whatever like.
Right, we'll watch it level off. That's there. There we go. London Easy 852, flight level 180, heading 105 degrees.
Easy 852, want to control roger, speed 250 knots.
250 knots, Easy 852. Interesting, 250 knots. That's fine. Okay, MSA 25, platform on the procedures 25, so we won't go below the MSA until we are on the procedure, so that's fine. We'll check it carefully as we descend. It's 3,000 feet, slightly further out, but north of Nodgu. We'll monitor these altitudes as we go down, but it is a 3-degree profile, and BB15F from 25 platform is correct in there. Go around procedure, pretty good. Climb straight ahead to 1,000. Then a right turn, 166 to 3,000, 166 to 3,000, that's in there, great. Something to get ready as well. Airport.
X-ray 102, turn left heading 325. Left heading 325, Echo Vector 102.
And we'll take Charlie.
Tango Bravo Mike November, turn right heading 05.
Bit of an inset threshold.
Right heading 050.
I'm going to go for medium auto brake, idle reverse, flat full landing, and then see where we come. I doubt we'll take Tango, probably Charlie, and we'll see where we park. Send flight level 160, easy 852. 160. Oh, they're getting us down early. We're never going to make it to our cruise. So let's just do we can just do a vertical speed because I don't really want to go down yet. I don't feel like I need to. So there's vertical speed 1,000, 160. Good, so RadNav, well, it doesn't matter as much. I need it auto-tuned because we're doing the RNAV. This is important. We've got accuracy high, GPS primary, everything's serviceable. So that's sort of stuff we'd be checking before doing an RNAV. Again, I'll talk about that in a tutorial video specific. Definitely what I will do, though, is have the runway threshold, because otherwise we'll have a very hard time judging our distance on the RNAV. Slightly different to the VOR, which I have a video out about. This is distance to runway 15, you see, so useful having that in there. Good performance. Now I can bring this up, Magic Flight Simulator, and let's get the weather loaded in. Nope, I can't have that as well.
Easy 852, turn left heading 340 degrees.
Left heading 340 degrees, easy 852, thank you. Oh, the shortcut is happening
Cargo looks
without us, so there we go, 340. 1,000 feet to go to our level off. Temperature, oh, 13, QNH 996, low QNHs. Could expect some worse weather. Minimum for the RNAV. 740, LNAV, BNAV. I'll talk about what that means later. Oh, that hasn't gone in. 996. 40. There we go. Good. Yeah, I'll talk about the difference, but we're going to do an LNAV, VNAV full approach so we can use the full minima. This is our arrival, in case any of you are wondering. I should have probably shown you that earlier. Effectively, we're going to arrive, go via Honolulu, out Grove. Grove's to the point where we'll hold at 210 knots. And from there, there's a transition up for the RNAV. I'm going to request the RNAV from Birmingham approach. Will be the first people I talk to with that. In real life, you might pass it through London, depending how busy they are. So then get ready. And we go level at 160. Right, so that's progress, performance, fuel, plenty of fuel. I stuck on a bit extra because I was thinking about this being an event. Brings me to a good point though. If you look, my flight plan is completely unsequenced. So that is an unrealistically low fuel figure because the airplane, next point, I can see up here, is Badim. And I'm actually going to go fly probably up to Honolulu, worst case Westcott. So it's not sequenced because I didn't fly near enough to this waypoint. So how do I fix that? Well, you could clear through each point, but that is a lot of points. I think what I'm going to do... Left heading 325, easy 852. Oh, I'm not sure what it's going to do. 325. I think what I'll do is clear out. If I put Badim, I can just type in Westcott after Badim. And now I'm going to clear out Badim. Westcott. And let's see. Let's have a direct to. And do a radial in of 180, something like that. There we go. We're not going to fly it though, so just put it back to heading. We don't want it to intercept. And now the airplane has a route roughly on that radial in, but we're not going to do that. If he re-clears us for that procedure, then we'll have to re-enter that, but I'll do that if it comes to it. Right, so the hold will be at...
Ryder 2 Bravo Golf, just continue to hold. There's going to be a delay for spacing into Birmingham, so much low-level traffic now coming in from the airport, so I'll have something for you.
We're going to hold at Grove. It sounds like there are some holds then. It's always worth listening out. 104 right-hand turns. 104 right-hand turns. 210 knot maximum at flight level 70. That's fine. Good. Let's insert that. And now, my fuel bit should... Yeah, we got extra fuel. Excellent. Secondary. So I'm going to copy, and it's going to copy everything across, but I'm going to make this the RS. And it's everything the same, but we'll have the RS runway 15 with no other arrival. I'm not even sure why it's got the fixed arrival. And this way, we can be ready for whatever they give us. So let's give it the Grove arrival. No, via hopefully vectors. Something similar then to what we're going to do. It is loaded in there. Oh, must have been a wind change there. What a amazing speed loss. And that's what could happen if your wind suddenly changes on you. Obviously not quite that quick in real life, but could be close. If we end up in the hold, then that's going to mean I can request the RNAV. But if they're too busy, they may say no. If that happens,
yeah, expect that. They'll have higher when you clear traffic.
I can just go to the secondary, and it's all loaded in here. The only thing I might do is have the RS minima loaded in, 503. Let's just put 510 for today. It won't matter, the cloud base is not a problem. Still config full. We've got the same wind and so on loaded in. I'll check through the routing now and here just to make sure that there's nothing too shocking about the procedure. So 147 inbound course, which we do have, straight down. We've got the DME co-located, which is handy. 3-degree glide slope. And to the threshold, go around 1,000 feet. Right turn, 166 on a track, 3,000 feet. Great. So that is all coded in and loaded as I would hope. And there we go. We have a plan for both ends. Okay. Systems check, fuel check. Let's have a look at some of the systems. Clear that message. And we'll just press all. Everything looking very reasonable. Good. 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 Right, fuel check. 4.5 tons in the tanks. We've burnt 1.5, so that's 5.5. That's 6 tons, which is what we departed with. So nothing too shocking there. And what you would probably do in real life at this point, certainly at some point, is you'd have a look at your flight plan and compare that to what you expected to have. So our next point, Delta 140 Lima, that's not going to be on here, is it? Oh, getting a message. (13307), okay. Do I need to tell this guy? I'm assuming he forgot.
Heading 255, top jet 84.
2 Tango Bravo Mike November contact.
Do I need to tell him?
Control 134, that's
134 days.
Easy 852, we're transferring to 133075. Thank you, goodbye.
Yep, thanks.
Maybe it doesn't matter. And London Easy 852, flight level 160, heading 325 degrees.
Easy 852.
Yep, that's us. Please don't tell me I've done something wrong.
London 10x to 0 Whiskey Tango. Sherlock, Skyways 1428, contact Heathrow, descent correction, descent flight level 90. Down to flight level 90, Skyways 1428.
What's going to happen here? I feel like I've done something wrong. I don't know why. We will need descent soon. So we've got 30 miles plus that arrival, so that's probably 10 miles there. So that's 30, 40, maybe 45 miles. We need 45 from here, so yeah. Descend flight level 90, easy 852. And there we go, just like magic. 90. And let's go, open descent. I want to be ready. Thrust idle, open descent, out blue 90. Now you see the airplane thinks we're actually slightly low. It's got a profile. Oh, because we never even reached cruise. It thinks we're absolutely fine. Problem is, it's thinking we're going to descend at 300 knots. Right, heading 040 degrees, expedite descent, easy 852. Sorry, descend flight level 140 and we'll go, easy 852. Okay, 140, and he wants an expedited descent. I'm going to press that, we'll see what happens. Talk about it in another video, I'm sure, but thrust idle, expedite descent, and we'll see it's gone idle thrust, 340 knots, so it's just going to put the nose right down. Descend flight level 120, direct to Honolulu, easy 852. Okay, it's giving us a lot to do here. Let's watch this level off. Well, we've got a bit of room now, 120. I'm not going to leave it there forever because it could overspeed on us. It's not very useful. Any turbulence or anything is too much, and it could overshoot that. Probably safer at these flight levels, but often, if you get a request like that from air traffic, descend flight level 110, easy 852. 110. Right, so to get out of expedite, I'm just going to pull, and it's going to open descent again. And it naturally returns to the selected speed, also the managed speed that you had before. 110, we're going to Honolulu. We could have used the speed brakes and kept 250 knots, but he said expedite, so easier to use the speed. I might confirm with him if he has any speed limit, because now I suspect we're going to have to hold, so I don't want to be going this fast, especially for these sorts of turns. I think what I'll do is I'll come back to 250 myself before.
Contact Birmingham radar 128, 123.1975, goodbye.
Sorry, could you say again the frequency, please, for Easy 852?
123975.
123975, thank you, Easy 852. Speed out star. 23975.
Austrian 22 Tango, A firm, it's 130.925.
And once again, it's amazing that I forget this. We've forgotten to get the ATIS. EGBB 136025. So I'm going to go VHF2. 136025.
Birmingham radar, hello. Route Honolulu, Oscott Grove, Hold Grove, flight level 100.
Honolulu, Oscott, Hold Grove, level 100, EV102.
Okay, that doesn't seem to be working. So let's talk to Birmingham and see what they say. And we had the QNH of Birmingham Easy 852, flight level 110, 250 knots to Honolulu.
Station calling, say again, call sign early.
Easy 852.
Easy 852, Birmingham radar, hello, route Honolulu, Oscott Grove, Hold Grove, flight level 110.
Maintain flight level 110, Honolulu, Oscott Grove to hold at Grove. Easy 852. Okay, great, that's as expected. It gives me time to do the stuff I should have done earlier, as usual. 250 knots. So if I was expecting to hold in real life, I would ask to slow down. He said Honolulu, Oscott Grove. Are there any extra points loaded in? Oscott Grove, no, it's just the way it works to join the hold. Now that is concerning. I don't know why it's got such a large outbound leg there.
1513, you're next out the hold, just stand by for a moment.
Really shouldn't need to do that. It should go Oscott, then round to Grove.
Easy 91 Foxtrot Bravo, descent, flight level
So that's fine.
Descent flight level 100, Easy 91 Fox Bravo.
Tongue check 495, descent.
Yes, in real life, you might ask for a reduced to holding speed now. You'll save fuel to not be cruising around.
Radar, good evening, radar.
Also, at slower speeds, turbulence and so on could be less noticeable for the passengers. And, you know, you don't want to be flying in circles forever, ideally. Passengers do notice it, so if you can slow down earlier and just absorb the time in a straight line, it's more efficient and it's nicer for everyone, really. Yeah, I'm not sure why this is doing this. That is a little bit disappointing. Let's just check I've got that hold right. Yeah, right-hand turns. We shall see what happens. If not, we'll intervene and we can get ourselves with the right turn direct to Grove when we get past Oscott. What is going on? There we go. 220 at 7 now. Someone did ask me, they said, how do you get the ATIS using the MCDU? Well, you normally go MCDU and then there's other options. So on this, all I've got is FMGC, but there'd be other things like maintenance and ACARs and that sort of stuff. And it would be through line select keys in here, and then it would just send it to a little messages page, but we just don't have that feature. Okay, well, we know that the hold 210 knot limit in the hold. Slightly awkward. We can't do that. I'm going to ask him if I can do 220 knot holds slightly wider. If it was 5 knots, I wouldn't be too worried, but that's a clear 10 knots too fast. So. And easy 852. We're a bit heavy. Can we do 220 knots in the hold, please?
Affirm. And you can maintain flight level 110.
Maintain 110, 220 knots for the hold. Thank you, easy 852. There we go. Solved. Solve the problem before it becomes on. It's always the plan if we can.
I'm not sure on the call sign. Echo Victor X-ray 102, descend flight level 90.
220 knots. That's fine. In real life as well, maybe any turbulence, you'd be a bit wary of being too close to VLS. Probably green dot is okay. You certainly don't want to go slower than green dots because it's just too close to VLS. If this was more turbulent as well, then this could be moving up and down. And in the real A321, the alpha protection bar, this can sometimes be quite high, and in turns it could come all the way up to your green dot speed, so you'd be very careful. Okay, let's see what happens here. And once we've done the turn, I'm going to ask for the RNAV. Be cheeky, see if we can get ourselves in trouble. More things to check for the RNAV. Make sure we have definitely got the right QNH 996, which they'll give us when we descend. It's just Grove. It's going to go 20 miles away, which is absolutely not what I want to do, because I should be turning now. Here's an interesting one. What happens if I just go direct to Grove? That's doing the right turn. Excellent. Descend flight level 100, easy 852, and we're requesting the RNAV runway 15.
Easy 852, okay, expect us for the RNAV approach runway 15.
Thank you, expect vectors RNAV runway 15, easy 852. There we go. That's another thing solved. So vertical speed 800, we're going down to flight 100 out blue. 800 feet per minute.
Qatar 35, are you still on
220 knots for the hold.
Affirm, but the sim's frozen, so can you give us a few minutes, Qatar 35?
Qatar 35, yeah, no worries, I saw you haven't moved for the past minute or so.
Yeah,
Probably leave the seatbelt signs off. It's hard to tell. He hasn't given us a holding time. We're not that high up, so I wouldn't think too long from flight level 100. If you join the hold at something like flight level 180, then you know you're going to be there for a while. But for flight 100, not too long.
Runner 967.
Okay, so here we go, entering the hold. Yeah, so I was saying earlier, you would check the flight plan, compare how much fuel you're expecting to have, and now we're entering the hold. I've got 4.1 tons of fuel, so you'd definitely take a note of that, and you'd work out exactly how long you could spend in the hold. So if we said maybe 300 kilos per hold, it depends on level and so on. These numbers do change, and I'm not overly familiar with these engines. But we could look in here, fuel prediction, and it would give you a similar number. But you'd almost certainly calculate that yourself to make sure. So it says 1.7 extra. We can look here. It at the moment thinks that I'm going to land with 4 tons. Well, that's just not going to happen. 4.1. We're going to land with maybe 3.8 if we left the hold now. And the fuel to get to Heathrow, in the real airplane you can see that. They seem to keep it slightly hidden in this setup.
Thank you, sorry. Easy 852, descend to flight level 80.
Descend flight level 80, easy 852. Okay, let's just check we enter the hold, very important. He said 80. Okay, 80, VS thousands, out, is blue. I hope he's not cutting the queue because he's run out of fuel. It does happen, and of course we want everyone to get in. Do our Tim's check at flight 100. I'm going to leave the LS button off because I'm doing an RNAV, I don't need it.
Easy Air 102, fly heading 040 degrees.
What I'm going to do is just get the passengers ready. I don't want to miss that later. I will put on the landing lights. Something else we would definitely do for an RNAV, check. Still GPS primary accuracy high? Yeah. It says 0.3 at the moment. We're doing 0.05. Excellent. And yeah, we're doing the hold. So we got, 4 tons of fuel. How much fuel do we need to go to Heathrow, which is our alternate today? And that should be in here. Alternate fuel 1.3. So final reserves, probably 1.2, I would hope. Yeah, 1.2. So that's 2.5 tons I want to land at Heathrow with 1.2.
Right now, 1 Mike Charlie 1 frequency.
So at 2.5 tons, I need to divert. So it's 2.5, 3.5. I've got 1.5 tons extra right now at this moment. This reckons 1.7 because it's a little bit optimistic with that arrival fuel.
102, descent to altitude 4,000 feet, Q&A.
I also know that the approach is going to cost me some fuel. Like I say, I reckon about 300. So to make it to Heathrow with the correct amount of fuel, I need to leave with the hold with about 2.8 tons of fuel. Then I can make my approach. I'll be on final approach with 2.5, and that's enough to divert from final approach to Heathrow and land with final reserves. You might want to build in some extra fat in that, obviously, because what if there's other problems or other aircraft diverting? Why are you diverting? Is it because of traffic at Birmingham, or is it because of weather in London, which could be causing delays for everybody? And you need to be careful, because you don't want to divert and then be in a queue of people who have also diverted and are on minimum fuel. So these things all get considered whilst you're in the hold.
102, turn left, disregard.
That's an easy 102, I see, yeah, there's close call signs. In real life, the call signs, I've just made up this flight number. This obviously is not associated in any way with EasyJet, but the real flights, they tend to deconflict the call signs. So the flight plans that are published will have call signs that aren't too similar to each other on the same route. It's quite clever, and it's to stop us accidentally trying to accept other clearances that aren't for us.
Easy 852, descend flight level 70.
Descend flight level 70, easy 852.
November 875, descend flight level 90.
Descend flight level 90,
Thank you. Easy 91, Foxtrot Bravo, descend flight level 80. Descend flight level 80, easy 91, Fox Bravo.
We would often do 1,000 feet per minute in the hold, quite normal. No point doing any more. We don't want to get a TCAS alert from the traffic below us, but we don't want to do it, in fact I should change that, and we don't want to do it too slowly because they want to descend airplanes above us into our flight level. So it's a sort of team effort where everyone keeps it going. Let's get that down to below. In real life, I mean, I know it doesn't work. If anyone knows how to get TCAS working in this airplane, that would be great, but unfortunately we don't. It can be very useful. We'd see little diamonds and we'd know roughly where airplanes are. You might be able to see who's beneath you in the hold, that sort of thing. I don't know if I could see anyone from outside. I can't see anybody.
Right now, 1 Mike Charlie, contact Scottish Control 118.775. 118.775 here, 1 Mike Charlie.
Nope.
Tomjet 495, descend to altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 996 hectopascals. 7,000 feet, QNH 996 hectopascals for 105.
Here we go then, entering the hold in the cloud, temperature 9, and anti-ice goes on. Don't want to forget that, sitting around in the hold at these speeds. This is being very efficient. I'm slightly sceptical of this fuel burn at the moment, but we'll see.
Ryanair 48 Bravo, descend flight level 100. Easy 852, turn left heading 320 degrees, descend to altitude 6,000 feet, QNH 996 hectopascals.
Left heading 320 degrees, descend 6,000 feet, QNH 996 hectopascals, easy 852. Right, well, as I said earlier, I would normally do the altitude, but I'm going to do the heading. He said turn left. So I don't want to keep turning right if he needs us to get out of the hold. So there we go, 320 degrees. He said descend to 6,000 feet. Let's do that at vertical speed. QNH 996. So there we go, 6,000 feet, up to 6,000. Down we go, vertical speed. And that's it. That looks like we're coming off the hold. Going on a northerly heading. For our RNAV, we don't need the Airbus push buttons. Cabin crew have been advised. Engine anti-ice no longer required. Excellent.
Right heading 260, descend flight level 110, Ryanair 19 whiskey.
Easy 852, descend to altitude 4,000 feet, QNH 996 hectopascals.
Descent altitude 4,000 feet, QNH 996 hectopascals. Easy 852. 4,000 feet.
Right heading 36.
He hasn't given us a speed, so we'll just keep 220. It's pretty much our most efficient speed as it's at green dot.
355. Right heading 355, descend to altitude 4,000 feet.
So abeam the airfield,
Right,
I would like to be
355,
no
743,
higher than
contact.
7,000 feet. Well, we're already below that, and we've got the speed back. So for energy, we've got loads of room. So vertical speed 600. I'll do 800 just in case he's got traffic above us. You can see here why we can't go direct to that final approach fix. Because if we did, it would just fly straight through and we would be descending off the profile. So what can I do here? Well, we're being radar vectored now, so we won't go to Grove, but Nodgu is quite likely. So I need to take the reciprocal of that track, which is 147. So we need to add 180 to that, so 327. I'm going to do rated in, 327. And if I put that, going from Nodgu, which is where we'd go direct to, and now we get a straight line, and that's all looking quite reasonable. No nav intercept, because we're not intercepting, so I must remember to pull that. Otherwise it arms our navigation mode. Great, so 230 knots at Nodgu. We're going to need to be slower at the intercept. We wouldn't be 230 knots there. That's probably a restriction.
Easy 852, contact Birmingham radar, 131.0, bye.
131.0, easy 852, goodbye. 131.0. My goodness.
Whiskey Bravo, 6,000.
Station calling Birmingham radar, say again, call sign only.
I think he's doing both frequency by the sounds of it. 131.0, yeah.
Kellam 4 Whiskey Bravo, contact London Control 133.070.
133.070, Kellam 4 Whiskey Bravo.
Director easy 852.
Easy 852, hello, passing message, sorry.
Easy 852, A321 descending 4,000 feet.
Easy 852, sorry, still with radar, contact direct 131.0.
Apologies, 1310, easy 852. And now I see what I've done.
495, looks like you made a slightly wrong turn there, so turn left heading 3.
How embarrassing. And that is why in real life we would be very careful using VHF2, and you'd keep one side on VHF1 basically at all times to avoid that. I heard it on the same controller, and I assumed he was still doing it. Director easy 852.
Easy 852, director, thanks to central altitude 3,000 feet, now 20 track miles for runway 15.
Send 3,000 feet for 15, easy 852.
Easy 852, thanks, reduce the speed now 180 knots, please.
180 knots, easy 852. Okay, he's asked for 180, we can do that. 180 knots, we're doing an open descent, flaps 1. Right, so here we go, it's lost the point, we've gone too close, so I'm going to need to retune that RNAV 15 to get it back. And there we go, because we can't go direct to that point. We could draw that centre line out.
Easy 852, turn right heading 120 degrees.
Riding 120 degrees, easy 852.
Tomjet 495, radar control service.
And easy 852 to confirm we requested the RNAV today, thank you.
Easy 852, roger, I wasn't told, bear with me 2 moments.
Well, you guys at least all have evidence that I did request it earlier. It's got the wrong way pointed here. Let's draw out a radial 327 from Nodgu again. So we can establish inbound on this track.
Easy 852, resume navigation, Nodgu, sorry, cleared RNAV approach runway 15, QNH 996 hectopascals.
Thank you, direct Nodgu, and clear for the RNAV approach runway 15, QNH 996 hectopascals, easy 852. Okay, so this is becoming a little bit of a mess. In the real airplane, I could scroll up to Nodgu. Let's try typing it in. Nodgu. And this is a real threat. Okay, that's worked. Now, that would not work. You could not do that in real life.
852, when you're established on the final approach track, make your speed 160 knots or greater until 4 miles.
160 or greater to 4 when established on final approach track, easy 852. Okay, 160 or greater, that's absolutely fine. We can do that. How far are we from the runway? 10 miles. Time to activate the approach phase. It did it automatically. Excellent. Let's arm approach. It's not letting me. Why is it not letting me? We need to go down to 2,500. I'm not sure why. That's confusing. Okay, 160 knots.
No, you don't know.
Let's put the gear out. We wouldn't do this early, but I want to get the speed back quickly to 160 so we are ready for what's coming. Yeah, so this is nowhere near how we would do it in real life because you can't start fiddling with the coding like this. There we go, approach, final lap. 2,500. This could be a good lesson though. Course only 118.3, easy 852, bye. Shuttle 789,
Shuttle 789, right, hold Alpha Lima.
Okay, so it's fine. We're established on final. We're expecting to descend at this point from 2.5, which is going to happen shortly. And you'll see here it's in final lap, so it should descend from here and we go on lateral deviation. How far are we from touchdown? Birmingham Tower, easy 852, 7 miles, RNAV runway 15.
Easy 852, hello Birmingham, clear to land, surface wind 200 degrees, 7 knots.
Clear to land, easy 852. Put down my little marker.
170, contact Birmingham radar.
Okay, descending. He said 160 to 4. Again, another reason to have this here.
Radar 123975.
We've already got the gear down. I'm going to arm the spoilers, put on the last of the lights. Fantastic. It's all going on. So 160 to 4. I'm going to do it at 4.3. We haven't got much speed to lose. We've just got to put the last bit of the flap out. With the wheels down, we've got a lot of drag, so the airplane will slow down quickly. We wouldn't have had to put the wheels down that early, but it did mean that I could slow down the airplane and get it so that I wasn't being drawn ahead by the airplane on its own too much, so you can give yourself some space. 4.4, manage the speeds. Let's go flap 3 and flap full. Get rid of that. We're already clear to land. And we've got medium water brake, so we'll see which exit comes up sensibly. Yeah, RNAVs, you can't start fiddling with the coding. I mean, you wouldn't get a direct 2 that was that tight to an inset probably in real life. We're stable at 1,000 feet, so that's great. And we are visual. I'm curious as to when the automatics will drop out on the RNAV. We've already looked at final lap. I've got a video about final lap VOR approaches, which is also what we're using here, but we're using its flying RNAV. Oh goodness, everyone's watching. Let's hope we don't get it wrong. Going altitude as well, that needs to go in. Good, and the red altimeter we would have used to cross-check that our profile is correct. Let's not make a mess of this. Let's not test it. Autopilot off, flight directors off.
Make sure you're already immediate. It's going to be a tight gap behind landing.
Bird is on.
Line up 15 behind.
Line up behind EasyJet, Airbus 15 Eurowing 60 meters.
Easy 852, when landed, vacate left, keep rolling.
I keep rolling, vacate left, easy 852. Okay, so medium water brake, and we'll maybe go for delta, we'll see. Glide slope caution. Wouldn't expect that in real life. I should have turned that off. Because we're not actually that far off the glide slope. There we go. Reverse screen, decel, try and keep it on the center line to some extent. We've missed that exit. Let's release the brakes, keep it rolling. Got an exit coming here.
16 Echo, clear takeoff, service wind 200 degrees, 7 knots.
Clear takeoff runway.
Speed under control. Oh, definitely couldn't do this in real life. That's way too fast for that turn. There we go. Forward idle. Get out of their way. He said keep it rolling. We have kept it rolling.
E852, hold short, Charlie 2, add a contact ground, frequency 121.8.
118, hold short, Charlie 2, easy 852. 1218. Let's have a look at this mess behind us. Oh, not a mess, but there we go, yeah. Everyone's all very tight in, lots of traffic here.
Rhino 18 Juliet Hotel, ready immediate.
Affirm, Rhino 18 Juliet
Okay.
Hotel.
Roger,
Anyway,
line
let's
up
get on
now,
with our
expedite.
job, 1218.
Line off now, expedite, Rhino
'Cause
18
he's
Juliet
probably
Hotel.
vacating behind us.
Geowing 16 Echo, contact Birmingham radar, frequency. See ya.
And ground easy 852 vacated.
Easy 852, hello, taxi stand 41 right via Whiskey.
Stand 41 right via Whiskey, easy 852, thank you. Okay, let's get moving. I think Whiskey's in front of us. Yes, it is. And for one right on the left as we get in. Perfect. Okay, so lights are off. Spoilers disarm, flaps up. I go to transponder. How are we doing behind? Anyone joining us? There they are. Let's keep moving. I should probably get some scenery for Birmingham. It'd be quite good, I think, to have jet bridges and so on. Right, we're running the after landing checklist and flow. Get the APU started. We're going to need that. And I did see the wheels. Yeah, very hot. Anything over 500 would be quite unusual. I'd be quite impressed. So I'm going to put the fans on now. You want to wait. You give it quite a bit of time, really. You don't want them to overheat, obviously, but to let them settle at their temperature and then use the fans. But you don't want to put the fans on when you're parking because of the ground crew.
Minus 61 kilo, hello, push down, start approved, face to the south, QNH 996 hectopascals. It's correction, face to the west.
Approved facing to the west end, QNH 996
He said 4-2 right. 4-1 right, 4-1 right. Wow, this is clearly uphill. You can see that. Airplanes are very sensitive to hills on the ground, really sensitive. We can taxi on one engine, but for example, trying to go up a hill where even that 1 degree on the PFD, you probably wouldn't risk it. Right, 4-1 right. Sadly, it's not marked here.
Privilege 7276, taxi on point Lima 1, hold short, runway 15.
I think it's going to be this line here at the right. Okay, get rid of the last lights, otherwise the poor ground crew will be blinded by it. Wow, yeah. Imagine if we were on one engine now, we'd have a really hard time. Don't want to rev the engines too much. Parking. I think I've overshot that slightly, with the excitement. My goodness, yeah. Right. I think we'll pick this line. Oh, I even missed that one. There we go. Parked up. Right, AP is definitely available. We've got our brake pressure. Let's turn off the engines. Get the passengers walk around, and when that M1 reduces, I assume it's a similar percentage on the CFM engines. We can turn off the beacon, and we'd run through some more parking stuff. Great, and here we are in Birmingham. I hope this has been entertaining for you. Quite a busy approach, as would be expected, I guess, with all the traffic coming in for these events. But once I actually use some of my extra fuel, so that's always nice. I feel justified that my decision was was correct for once. And hopefully we'll see you again in another video soon. I'll be doing more tutorials, more flights like this. Do keep the comments coming, any questions and so on. It'd be great to answer. The interaction's been really great from you guys, so thanks for being a part of it.
Contact the tower 1183 with a call sign only, please.